This is the S&P 500 one-day reading for November 6, 2023. It's currently October 2nd, 2023, 9:59 p.m. Eastern Time. The S&P 500 at the time of this reading currently 4,288.39, and the shuffle file for the November 6th reading was created on September 25th, 2023 at 2:19 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video right here. The overall theme and behavior for the day, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. Behavior around the highest high, we attempt to establish support at the highest high, and then there's a significant drop, it'll stand out as a sharp drop on a one-day chart at least, that we sell from that high. Behavior around the lowest low for the low for the day, a notable decline into the low, offering opportunity to open up a long position on a swing trade, multi-day swing trade kind of play. Before we get into the chart behavior on an hour-by-hour basis, as well as where we see the best trades and where the highs and the lows are, I just want to make sure everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel, we want to make sure people are following the rule of karma, which you do so here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, where our angel investors of the channel are donating 5% of the profits forward to one of these charities here, and 5% of the profits back to the channel through one of these links here. Leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you do that, you follow the threefold rule of karma for the channel. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold for being an angel investor. Guys, if you're interested in getting this information sooner, for the most part, when we do on our early access, which you get here at SO Meta Post under our services, click here to subscribe. $29 a month, $249 for the year. It gets you, usually it's like a month in advance. Sometimes it's a few days, but usually it's about a month in advance. You get that stuff ahead of everybody that sees it on YouTube. And it's a great way, like a great intro way to support the channel. So much appreciation to those of you that go ahead and do that. All right, guys, let's get back into it. So in the pre-market, we have this out of a decline, a big move from the bottom of the range to the top of the range. So we should really see like either we open lower in the pre-market and there's a big move, or we decline pretty hard in the pre-market and then there's a big move higher. But either way, right around the open, we have a notable move to the downside from a peak or crest. I think we probably see a low twice in here, once in the pre-market, and then we sell from a peak or crest around the open down into a low again. That's where I would close the long position, excuse me, the short position that was open the prior day around the close when we met that key resistance on a one-day chart. I would close that short position here in the midst of a sharp drop in the first half hour, or possibly bearish price swings, but that right around the open, there's that sharp drop to a low. And then those bearish price swings or that sharp drop will turn into sideways rotation along key support between roughly 10 and 11, ending with a fast sudden move higher. And then between roughly 11 and 12, we have price swings turning into some tricky behavior right around midday. It's hard to determine what the prudence card is in this situation, but my sense is that there might be some sort of technical chart behavior here that implies we're going to move in one direction, but instead we move in the opposite direction. My sense is we probably have a high here. It's either here between 12 and 1 with some sideways rotation, or it's after that with a pop and drop between roughly 1 and 2, closer to 1 o'clock than 2 o'clock, pop and drop to a peak or high there. Right around like 1 o'clock, maybe a little sooner, maybe a little later. And remember, be careful. It's probably going to make it look like we're going higher, but instead we turn around. We've got that sharp drop off of the high as indicated by this ruin here. This is a sharp drop placement ruin. This is a sharp drop placement ruin. So pop and drop turns into a sharp drop that takes us to another low for the day, probably our second low for the day. Hard to say if it's lower than the early morning one, but either way, it does mark an opportunity. There's a notable reversal there at the day's low. So in the midst of that decline ends in the last hour with a fast sudden move higher, and a brief peak is created, a brief opportunity at a brief peak that's easily missed there around the close, followed by a decline through multiple support levels, increasing with momentum moving forward into the post-market. So there's a day trade in there as well. You could open up a long position at a lowest low here, between roughly, when we have this sharp drop, it'll take us into a lowest low, and then I would open up, after a pop and drop, sharp drop, lowest low, I'd open up a long position, close a long position right around the close. At a brief peak that's easily missed. So that's, I wouldn't say if you're a novice to follow through on this trade, because a brief peak that's easily missed, it's easily missed, so remember that. And then it looks like, hard to say where we open on the 7th in relation. Yeah, it's hard to say where we open on the 7th in relation to the close from the 6th. It could be because it's sideways here or because it's price swings here, but we do have a notable decline first thing in the morning. I'll talk about that in more detail in the November 7th reading. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That really helps out the channel. And as always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so there on the resources tab. Much appreciation to all my angel investors. Blessings. We'll see you guys on the next one.